Hey everybody, welcome back to Kat's Kitchen. I'm so glad you guys are back here with me for another episode. Today we're going to be making some beef broth and canning it. So I have some bones here from the half a cow that we just purchased. And what we're gonna do is I have 2 baking sheets here with some parchment paper on them. My oven is heated up. It's actually heating up right now to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're just gonna put our bones here. They were in the freezer, so I made sure to take them out of the freezer and let them thaw in my refrigerator just overnight. Or they can sit for 2 days if you need to. Really, whenever you need to get to them, within 2 to 3 days would be just fine. So I'm gonna roast our bones here on the parchment paper at 425, and I'm gonna let them go for roughly about an hour or so. And then from there, we're going to boil them in a big stock pot. Excuse me. And then from there, that's whenever you can change the seasoning on it. Season it up however you like, or leave it more of a neutral flavor for depending on different recipes that you want to make with it. And yeah, and that's about it. And then after that, we're going to be canning it up. This whole process may take me a few days to get through, but if it does, that's not a problem, because oftentimes with my canning projects, they do take a couple of days. Alrighty, so here, let's get right into it. My bones usually come right like this with the marrow in them, which is really nice. It's the bone marrow is extremely healthy for you. Has really high collagen content. For you out. And I have 2 pans here in case I need them. You just want them to lay flat. And you can also turn them over as they cook. We'll see if we need 2 of our pans here. Okay, I'm going to use both of them just so that we don't crowd our sheet pan here. Alrighty. This is something nice if you want to do this while you're at home and you have other things to do, because like I said, this is going to take about an hour or so to roast. I want to get this nice and roasted, and then it's going to go in our stock pot for another few hours. So I'll see you guys back here once these are out of the oven and we're starting to work with the stock itself. Okay, so here are the bones that I removed from our oven, and I'm just showing you here. I'm going to start adding them to our big stock pot there. And this is one of my larger stock pots. I want to say this is a good, 10-quart pot. So we're just going to simply add our roasted bones right on in, and then we're going to fill up this pot here with good filtered water. And then we can start our seasoning if you decide to season it, or just leave it more of just a plain beef broth. That way you can have it for many different recipes. Alrighty, so now I'm just showing you here the different flavoring options. I have salt, beef bouillon, beef base. You can add that in if you like, or some veggie scraps, and we're just gonna let this cook for a long time on the stove. Okay guys, so we are back here. This is day 2 of our beef broth canning project. I have everything set up here, cleaned and ready to go. I prepped this all last night. So I'm going to show you what we're dealing with here. So I have about 7 quart jars here that are all nice and cleaned with the new lids and rings. I have my canner back here. I just turned it on. So this is cold water. This is room temperature water here. And then here I have our big pot of stock here. Now, The reason why I like doing this the day before is because you can obviously see the fat layer that hardened on top. This is like the easiest way that I know how to get that fat off of there before you can it, because you don't want to have too much fat when you can, because that could inhibit your sealing. So what I'm going to do here is just get in here. We're going to take this fat layer off. And I have a little container here to my left to get rid of this. And then I will just ladle our broth here into my fat separator, which is right here, just to, you know, there's a little screen in there to take out any little particles that there might be in there, as well as the spout on here. The little nozzle is perfect for pouring right into my jars so that it doesn't get too messy. I've ladled it in before in the past, and it's okay. You know, I have the little funnel here in case I want to do it that way, but it's just a lot less messier if you have a small little nozzle. Now my bones are still in here. So this is definitely a project you can do a day or two in advance before you want to can it, because it's very forgiving. You know, after you obviously make your broth, I showed you in the prior clip that you can season this the way you want, the way you and your family likes. If you want to do bouillon, beef base, some salt, whatever. I know a lot of people like to cook their stock with vegetable scraps, such as could be carrot peels, onion peels, celery, anything like that. Like I mentioned before, I usually put all of my vegetable scraps in our compost for our garden. So I do that all year round, along with our eggshells. And sorry if you can see the garbage back there. I'm literally just about to take that out. But yes, so I do that all year round. I do the coffee grounds, the eggshells, I do everything. So to go into the compost. But yeah, just season up your broth the way you and your family enjoy it, and whatever dishes that you're going to be making with that broth. You may want it specific or just more generic. And at this stage of the game, this is super easy, super straightforward. The hard work is pretty much already done. Now I'm going to leave you guys a link down below for the National Center for Home Food Preservation website. I may be saying that a little bit wrong, but I will leave it down below for you so that you can figure out your elevation for your area, so that you know how long to cook your broth for, pressure can your broth. So this is what we're going to do now. I'm just going to ladle in my broth here. And there's a little bit of a screen in here, this black part. Like I said, to collect any particles, any large pieces of fat or whatnot. So we're just going to get this in here. And then we're going to let the canner and the jars come up to temperature all at the same time. Like I said, I did turn it on, but I have an electric stove. So this electric stove does take a while to come up to temperature. So you just want your jars and your product to all be about the same temperature. So we got our jar here, and like, look how easy this is to just pour this right in here. I don't even need my canning funnel. I got 7 quart jars out because that's what my canner holds. So we'll see if we need all 7. Now, obviously we don't need to debubble because this is all liquid, so it's filling up the entire space. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around each rim with some vinegar and clean up those rims, and then I'll put the lids and the rings on. So I'm just going to keep doing this, guys, until all of my jars are filled. And then we're going to put them in our canner and get it going. So let me know how you guys like to use your beef broth. Or if you have any special recipes, please leave them for me down below. I'd like to take a look at them because I know soup, stews, those are kind of the obvious ones. But if you guys have something special that you and your family really enjoy, maybe a little different, or, even a different way to use, beef broth. I know I also use it in my rice cooking. Sometimes I like a beef rice flavor, which is really nice. But yeah, let me know in the comments below how you like to use it, how you like to make it, and how many quarts you normally go through in a year. I honestly think that this will be enough for us for a year because I make a lot of stock, throughout the year as well. So I think just having these few quarts on my pantry shelf will definitely see me through the rest of the year. Okay, so we are working on our last quart that we have here. And then, like I mentioned before, I'm just going to take some vinegar and clean off the rims of our jars. You can really use any vinegar that you have handy, apple cider, distilled. If you're in a pinch and you only have rice wine vinegar, that would probably work too because it's still that vinegar base. And really, you just need that vinegar part to cut through the fat to clean your rims really well. So white distilled vinegar is very common though with canning. And then if you have a little extra to pour inside your canner too, where your jars are, whenever they process, they're less likely to collect that. I believe it's a calcium film on it. If I'm incorrect on that, please let me know. But I believe it's like a calcium deposit that builds up around the jars. My canner doesn't always do it, but every once in a while it does. For these, I forgot to put the vinegar in and it did that. So it just helps to keep your jars nice and pretty and clean. But after these come out of the canner, I let them sit for about 12 hours and then I end up washing them anyway because they're going to sit in my pantry and I want to be very certain that there's no food products at all around the rim, just to make sure that it doesn't attract any bugs or anything like that. And then obviously I check the seals really good and then I label and date them and put them away. So here I'm just filling up to about a 1/4 inch headspace with liquid only items. You can do that. But once again, just reference the link that I'm going to leave for you down below. That'll give you the pressure time, the pressure and the cook time. I'm just showing you the white vinegar here that I'm using. I know it's a little hard to see, but so yeah, so I just always use a clean portion of this kitchen towel, this paper towel here, because every time you wipe, you're going to get fat and you have to move to a new clean area of your paper towel. I think broth is a really good beginner item for, anyone that's beginning their pressure canning journey. And honestly, between meat and canning broth, those are probably the two most easiest, preparations to do. Canning vegetables is fairly easy too. There's just a lot more prep work involved. You have to wash them. Some of the vegetables you have to peel. If you're doing small batches of canning projects, they're not as bad. If you want to get your feet wet, try canning green beans, corn. If you like carrots, we did that before, potatoes. But some of those vegetables, and they have a lot more, like I said, prep with that process. So if you're new to canning and you'd like to be adventurous and try it out, I would definitely try either, a stock of some sort, whether you like beef or chicken. I think that some people even can fish stock. Don't quote me on that, but I think that is on that website that I'm going to leave for you. I have not tried that yet, but yeah, give that a try, or even give canning meat a try. Canned chicken is super good in chicken salad if you're a fan of that, or if you need to make like a fast taco or a crock pot meal, anything such as that, a casserole. That's what the canned chicken is really good for. And as long as you season it up, you can really use it, like I said, in all those applications, and it'll be really tasty for you. So I have everything here in my canner. I always check the seal. I check to make sure everything's working properly, or safety spout. I'm not sure what you call that. Pressure release valve maybe. And then I make sure that you can see through that vent valve. If you can't, you need to make sure they're clean so you can see through them, because it may cause your canner to fail. Okay, so our canner is done. We ended up with 6 quarts total. So I was kind of happy that I only had to run one load. And I got all of those beef bones out of my freezer, which was nice. Look how pretty and rich that looks. Bone broth is so beneficial to your health. Obviously, we talked about the collagen in there, and I feel like it makes everything taste a lot better, whether you're doing chicken or beef or whatever you like. A lot of depths of flavor in here. And a lot of the recipes that actually call for wine, you can substitute for broth. Good broth like this will actually have a lot of the same body. A little bit of broth and then even a little bit of vinegar will give you a little bit of that bitter taste from the vinegar, but the richness from the broth. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm just showing you a little peek at dinner here, cooking some Delmonico steaks for us tonight. But guys, thank you so much, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Bye-bye, friends.